if I go there with you. No, I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary, and I want a life that matters. No, I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary, and I want a life that matters. What if I'm not afraid? 'Cause nothing they've got fills me up. So I'm giving my life away. Lord, you overflow my cup. I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary. I want a life that matters. No, I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary. I want a life that matters. I want to follow you. 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 What did you make me for? What are you calling me to? What do you have in store? If I go there with you. I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary. I want a life that matters. I don't want ordinary, not just the same old pattern. They live for the momentary. I want a life that matters. I want to follow you. 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 I want to follow you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to church. You know, so often when we meet together to worship, people are in so many different places, and we come together to sing the same song. Some people feel like their spirit is empty and they don't have anything to give, and some people are just kind of full and overflowing. And the thing that I want to say to you is, wherever you are, whatever kind of week it's been, whether you are kind of talking yourself into a place of love and trust this morning, or whether you are just full to the brim and you can't wait to sing to Jesus, what I would encourage you to do is to sing anyway. If you're full or you're empty, maybe you're talking yourself into a place of trust and love, and maybe you just can't wait to express it. But either way, let's do this together. Let's get ourselves to that same place of the words that we're going to sing, which are all about trusting Jesus, that He knows what He's doing in the middle of this, that He knows and He's working everything together for the good of those who love God. If you're full and overflowing and feeling that, or if you're empty, let's all sing these words together and get ourselves to that place. All right, one.
that seems to roll like a storm out of control. There is so much I don't know that is in your plan. You named every star and you placed them where they are. Every beat of every heart is within your hands. You proved yourself true. So help me wait on you. You know what you do and you know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you. I trust you to know what you do and you know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you, I trust you. When I feel no rest and when my heart is such a mess, help me trust you know what's best, that you're in control. You mix sun and rain, and you use joy and you use pain. Even the blood in your veins spilled to make me whole. You proved yourself true. So help me wait on you. You know what you're doing, you know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you to know what you're doing. You know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you, I trust you. You prove yourself true. Help me wait on you. You know what you do and you know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you to know what you do and you know where I'm going and all things you're working. I trust you, I trust you.
The Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes says, "When times are good, be happy.
When times are good,
When times are good,
When times are good, be happy.
When times are good, be happy.
But when times are bad,
But when times are bad,
But when times are bad, consider this.
But when times are bad, consider this.
Consider this.
God has made one as well as the other.
God has made the one as well as the other.
consider this, that God made the one as well as the other.
Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future.
no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun.
No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun.
despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning.
No one can discover its meaning.
Even if the wise claim they know, they can't really comprehend it.
Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. So I commend the enjoyment of life.
So I commend the enjoyment of life.
So I commend the enjoyment of life.
Because there's nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad.
And to eat and drink and be glad.
Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of the life God has given them under the sun.
Go, eat your food with gladness and drink your wine with a joyful heart.
Eat your food with gladness and drink your wine with a joyful heart.
For God has already approved what you do.
Eat your food with gladness and drink your wine with a joyful heart.
For God has already approved of what you do.
Our joy has been in the slower schedule and in slowing down together as a family.
Getting to move me into the place we're going to be living once we get married, and planning
Our wedding?
around lots of local best practices and guidelines.
Our joy has been having the kids home, and really just challenged us with jigsaw puzzles.
2,998 pieces later, we discovered the dog had eaten 2 of the pieces.
Before this, a phone call was an interruption a lot of times, where now I really look forward to sweet, encouraging, meaningful conversations with people.
We have found joy in being able to be outside, and especially that we've seen our first hummingbird this year.
I think a lot of what has underlined our joy has kind of been being kids again, because we've had to in some ways, and just kind of jump in with the kids and what they're doing, whether it's wrestling to the point of soreness the next day, pillow fighting, and dance parties in the kitchen have been a common event here.
Our joy has been really just being together. It's helped to be outside, I've been outside blowing bubbles and stuff.
We have loved slowing down and laughing while doing home improvements this spring.
Terry's given me a couple of jigsaw puzzles that I've been working on upstairs, and that's been fun. Jack and I have been running a lot, which I don't enjoy the running so much, but I enjoy spending time with him and working towards a goal together.
What's brought us a ton of joy is obviously being together as a family, especially around meals. Whether it's cooking brunch before we watch church together, or obviously each and every night of the week.
I got to do my little sister's hair and makeup. We've just been taking turns doing each other's makeup.
For those of you who don't know, Joe and I are expecting a baby this September, so it's safe to say that our joy has been found in that.
That's right.
What's also been fun is stopping by and seeing our kids at work. Turns out they're essential. When we head to the grocery store, it's always fun to sneak into Sammy's line and have him check us out.
We have loved hiking and crafting and home improvement projects.
Binge watch TV shows together while eating way too many brownies.
I've had a lot of good pizzas. I had a lot of good burritos. If you need any recommendations for those, please just let me know.
And we also had a Zoom union with some people that we traveled with over 25 years ago in a ministry group. So I have loved reconnecting with people.
I've loved being able to stay connected to my Young Life kids and leaders. We had a Zoom trivia club, and that was really fun.
And the other thing that I have found joy in is being down in my quilting room and getting a lot of sewing done.
Our joy has been camping and sitting by the fire.
The kids have explored and seen how many varieties of trees we have. They've collected leaves. We've planted a small garden.
Also, Kristen being home all the time has tried a lot of new recipes, which is great.
Look at us now, look at you shine. We're not coming down, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us now, watch and pray, find in me thine all in all. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow.
All right, sing with us. Jesus, the name I sing, the Lord of everything. Here we go. Jesus, the name I sing, the Lord of everything, the King of kings. Jesus, the one who knows, the one who's in control, seated on a throne. Jesus, the name I sing, the Lord of everything, the King of kings. Jesus, the one who knows, the one who's in control, seated on a throne. No one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you. No one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you. Jesus, the name I sing, the Lord of everything, the King of kings. Jesus, the one who knows, the one who's in control, seated on a throne. Jesus, the name I sing, the Lord of everything, the King of kings. Jesus, the one who knows, the one who's in control, seated on a throne. No one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you do. No one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you do. All right, we're gonna split up now. You can sing whichever part you want to. Here we go. Jesus, name I sing, the Lord of everything, King of kings. Jesus, one who knows, one who's in control, seated on a throne. No one's like you, no one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you. No one's like you, none above you. No one else loves like you do. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow.
One of the most difficult things about the current crisis we're all facing is that we wind up missing out on things that frankly we can't have back. For some of us, we're going to be unpacking the results of this devastating time for years to come. And There's one group of people in our community that is especially feeling that right now, and of course that's our high school seniors. About this time of the year, our high school seniors would be getting ready for their graduation ceremony, a time where family and friends come from all over, and indeed, like most of the community, all gathers together with air horns and applause just to celebrate their accomplishment, that they've graduated from high school. And they're not going to get that this year. And so we wanted to take a few minutes in the middle of our time worshiping the Lord together to recognize them and to give them a moment to say who they are, how they're doing, how they're feeling. And for us as a church to kind of turn our attention to them for a moment, to thank God for them, to pray for them, and to bless them as they get ready to graduate from high school in a totally different way.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie O'Brien and I'm a senior at Oak Ridge High School. In the fall, I plan on attending Maryville College in Maryville, Tennessee, where I'm going to play soccer, study biology, and hopefully become a Young Life leader.
Hi everyone, I'm Bethany Quilty and I'm a senior at Oak Ridge High School, and next year in the fall I'm planning on going to Cumberland University and majoring in special needs education.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hepler. I'm a senior at Oak Ridge High School, and in the fall I plan on attending Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee to study music therapy.
Hi, my name is Katie Thompson and I'm going to be attending the University of Memphis in the fall, and I'm going to be majoring in medicine.
Hi everyone, I'm Maisie Zavisha, and this fall I will be going to Lee University to study biology with a pre-professional emphasis, along with going there to grow in my walk with God.
After a while, I kind of realized how bad that sucked. I realized that, I'm not going to get to have a traditional graduation ceremony with the people I've known and built relationships with for the past 13 years, and my parents wouldn't get to scream and embarrass me when they called my name. I wasn't going to get to sit on the 50-yard line with my friends on Blankenship Field, and it was just really sad.
If we're being honest, my first initial reaction was just to cry. I just started crying because I felt overwhelmed with sadness and frustration, because I feel like this was just another thing added onto our plate.
I was shocked at first. I didn't fully understand how I felt, because I thought graduation was going to be the one thing that wasn't taken away from us. And I think that's the hardest part for me, is the fact that I couldn't control that decision and there was nothing that I could do to fix it.
When I first found out that graduation was canceled, I honestly was a little upset, because that's the thing I was looking forward to most as my senior year. But I honestly sat back and I was like, this is probably for the best. And Oak Ridge is going to do something to give us some sort of graduation for now, and hopefully later on we can have a better one.
I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to hang out with my friends for the first couple of days. But after a few days, I noticed that all I was doing was pitying what I didn't have rather than looking forward to what I at least have. So noticing that change really helped me have more of a positive outlook on everything.
I just want to say thank you to the people of our church for always being so welcoming and so kind early on Sunday mornings. And I always think it's the coolest thing when I look around on Sunday mornings at CCC, and just to see everyone so happy to be there and worshiping. I don't think I've ever seen anyone not happy to be there, and I just think it's the coolest thing ever.
A word of thanks for the church is thank you guys for still taking the time to come together and put together a worship service for us to watch every Sunday. It's really great that you guys are doing this, so we're still able to worship together, and I can't wait for when we're back in church.
I will miss Sunday night Bible studies so much. It was one of my favorite things of the week, and I look forward to it every single day.
I am so thankful for our church. I'm so thankful for CCC. The feel-good music and Tom's wisdom and goofiness, it's been so helpful and encouraging during this strange, weird time. But specifically, I'm really thankful for Aaron Accardi. she's been such a light and such a dear friend to a bunch of us seniors during this.
I haven't been going to this church for very long, but since I have been, it's changed my life completely. I feel so loved, and my relationship with God has grown so much, and I can't thank Triple C enough for that. You guys have become my family in such a short time, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you, for Lee and Thomas and Tom, who gives wonderful sermons every Sunday. I look forward to them, and our Sunday night Bible studies, even though some of them have been on Zoom, it's still been amazing to have that and see everyone's faces.
I really want to say a big thanks to Erin Accardi though, because throughout all of this, she has been there from Zoom calls to 6 feet apart picnics for a couple of us senior girls. So thank you, Erin, and thank you to everyone at our church for always being so kind and all of that.
It has been such a joy to watch you grow, to watch you become the person you are.
I want you to remember that sometimes following Jesus does mean walking through a narrow door. But I want you to remember that through that door and down that road is immense joy.
Things in your life are going to continue to change and grow, but His love will always remain constant.
That Jesus is wildly in love with you. He calls you His own. He calls you His child. He calls you His beloved. And nothing's ever going to change that.
I see you looking for the good and for little things to be thankful for. I see you growing strong in your character, and I just have the best hopes for you.
All of you all are blessings and gifts, and we love you, and I'm really thankful for you all and hope that you will be around still. And even if you're going a long way away, I hope you stay in touch and text us and call us whenever you need us, and come back and hang out whenever you can.
We can't wait to see what God has in store for your life.
I hope you always remember that you can always come home to Him. You can always come home to us too. But in Him, we can always come, whether we are broken and bruised, happy and filled up, ready to be close to Him. When we feel guilty or ashamed, He receives us and wants us however we come.
We are super proud of you and all your accomplishments, and we just want to read a few encouraging words from the Bible to you.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
The Lord bless you and keep you.
The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you.
May the Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you.
May the Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace.
The Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace.
My name is Eric Peters, and this is a song I wrote called The New Year. This is the year when something changes, but nothing ever does. This is the year that all my failures turn into a pile of dust. This is the year with fallen faces we learn we're not enough. This is the year to hold each other up. Whoa, it's a new year. Oh, 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 it's a brand new light. Oh, 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 can you believe it? It's the skies that we dream of. This is the year when laughter douses charred and burnout dreams. This is the year when wrens return to nest in storm-blown trees. Is this the year of relocation from bowels of old despair? This is the year to perch on hope's repair. Whoa, whoa, it's a new year. Whoa, it's a brand new light. Whoa, changes. This is the year, it's the year that something changes. Oh, it's a new year. Oh, it's a brand new light. Oh, can you believe it? It's the skies that we dream of. Oh, it's a new year. Oh, it's a brand new light. Oh, can you believe it? It's the skies that we dream of. It's a new year. It's a new year. Thanks.
Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age."
Hey everyone. So in this time of like the coronavirus where everything is so unfamiliar and uncomfortable and unsafe, a lot of people feel like their life in some ways is changing for the better. Like there are a lot of families that are spending time playing board games, which they never did before. Did you know that the expression, well, I guess we're just back to square one, that actually comes from the board game Candyland? That was invented by an elementary school teacher who was recovering from polio. Did you know that Monopoly, for example, Parker Brothers prints 30 times more money for Monopoly than the US Treasury prints for us? And so here's something that I found out. If you are playing Scrabble, and you're using all the letters, including like the blank letters that are kind of like the wild letters, there aren't enough letters to spell pizzazz, to spell knick-knack, or to spell senselessnesses, which I'm not sure what they are, but there's something. But lots of people feel like they're learning a lot of new things, and their life is changing in a lot of positive ways. Some of us are learning how to bake. And one thing that I personally think is really neat is that a lot of people are getting into walking and like jogging. Ooh. So seriously, we are learning new stuff and trying new things. And I know that there's probably a lot of people who feel like, when this is all over with, like when this whole coronavirus thing is over with, in some ways, I don't want to go back to the way I was before. Like, I feel like we're healthier, we're eating better, we're spending more time together. Some people feel like I'm going slower than I used to go, and I like it. I don't want to go back to the way I was. You know, I've heard people say that who were even getting treatments for diseases. And then when their disease went into a remission, they were super thankful, but they felt like, but I don't want to go back to the way I was before, because when I was struggling with this, I made every day count. I tried to not stress about things that really didn't matter because it seemed stupid to me. And I told people that I loved them. I don't want to go back to the way I was before. You know, I think there was maybe a couple of the followers of Jesus who knew that feeling, who felt like I didn't want to go back. I don't want to go back to the way I was. When you get to Matthew chapter 28, so Jesus, like his closest followers and the ones that we call like his disciples, they had already met with Jesus when he rose from the dead in Jerusalem, and he told them to go into Galilee. And they were going to have like an appointment and like a commissioning for the mission that he was going to send them on. And so they had gone up there, and then he unexpectedly he appeared to them after they had been fishing all night. But that wasn't the real appointment. There was another appointment. And Matthew said it was on a mountain. He actually said it was on the mountain. Some people think it might have been the same mountain in Matthew chapter 20, Matthew 5, where Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, which they also call that one the mountain. And many people believe that when they met him there, they weren't the only ones, but that there were a lot of people there. In fact, there's one place where the Apostle Paul said 500 people at once saw Jesus risen from the dead. And a lot of people believe it was on that occasion, like on the mountain. And the reason all those people were there was because Jesus's followers had told them, he's coming, we're going to meet him. Come and meet him, he's really risen from the dead. And all of those people, even though they hadn't seen Jesus yet, they believed that he was risen from the dead because of the way those disciples were. Like they were so full of joy. I mean, before they had been afraid and all hidey, and now they were full of joy and enthusiasm and energy, and they were super pumped. And like 500 people said, I believe Jesus is risen from the dead, and I'm going to meet him because I see something in you. You know, when Jesus did appear to them, to all of those people, he told them he wanted them to go into like all the nations of the world and all the different ethnic groups and make disciples. So the word disciple is a word that means to be a student, but like a student in your heart. Like you're a student of someone and you want to learn everything they had to say and do everything that they said and really, really be their follower. Well, I can't really make you do that. And in fact, when Jesus said make disciples, he didn't really say make disciples. It says discipleize them. Like, in other words, it's kind of like you be one around other people, and they'll see something different in you, and they'll just catch it from you, a desire to be like you. I mean, isn't how you got into this, where you just met somebody, or maybe you just met some people and you thought, they have something that I don't have. I want it. So when I was like 15, in 1970, I was trying to find Jesus, and I didn't know anybody who could tell me about God. And Billy Graham was going to come to Neyland Stadium, who was a great evangelist, and he used to fill stadiums like all over the world. And I heard about a bus in a church that you could just get on the bus and they would take you. So I went every night to listen to Billy Graham. And it was super amazing. But there was a woman there who I had never heard of, named Ethel Waters. I didn't know she had had just a horrible childhood, but that she had come to know Jesus listening to Billy Graham back in the 1950s at Madison Square Garden, and that she would sing for him. I didn't know she was the first African-American woman ever to win a Tony Award. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is that she had something that I didn't. It was like a joyful, there was a peace about her. Like she just had so much peace And it was like just love, like she had love. So on one night, Billy Graham had he invited President Nixon to address the crowd. And this was during the time of the greatest protest against the war in Vietnam. And Billy Graham later acknowledged that was a mistake because it had made something that it was just supposed to be about Jesus. It had made it about politics. And there were a lot of students there and other people who had come to protest against Richard Nixon. And it was really, really scary because they were just yelling. And even when people would try to pray, and I don't think they really realized how they were being disrespectful and all that. But it was just a real tense night. And when people were trying to pray or when they would try to sing, there were people yelling. And Ethel Waters just got up there to sing, and she said, "I just love all you children up there." And they were yelling while she was saying it. And she said, "I would just like to come up there and spank every one of you." But she was just so sweet and and then the way she talked about Jesus, it was it was personal, like she knew him. And she sang a song, "To me, it's wonderful." I love that song. "To me, it's wonderful knowing that Jesus is mine." And I thought, I want that. I want that, like peace and love like that. And to think that I could have a personal relationship with that, with God like she did. And I think that's like for the disciples, that's what was happening to them. I mean, Jesus was kind of pushing them into a lot of situations that were uncomfortable and unfamiliar and unsafe, just like we're going through right now. But they were learning to have peace. Well, not exactly peace, but they were learning to be brave. And be brave over and over and over again. And that kind of turns out to be a person who has peace. But, like Jesus, like Peter stepped out of a boat in the middle of the sea in the middle of the night and walked on the water. I mean, that was super brave. And Jesus sent them on a trip one time to preach to all these people and said, "I don't want you taking any money. Just trust God and go. Don't take any money or anything to carry any money in." And they were brave to do that. And they were learning about love, I guess. I mean, it's kind of like when you follow Jesus, you have to kind of follow wherever he goes. If you're going to hang out with him, you go where he goes. And he was going to people that they weren't used to, and they were learning to hang out with people they weren't used to. And they were finding out they're just people, like prostitutes and other kinds of people that they had never hung out with. People from other countries. And just finding out, wow, they're just people. And I kind of like them. And it was maybe turning into something like love. Like when Tina and I moved to Italy, and some of the first people we ever reached were actually Arabs. And I had never really known any Arabs. And then you find out about them and about their culture and the way they do things, and you find out, I mean, the way you all do stuff is cooler than the way we do it. Like one of my best friends was Lebanese, named Antoine, and like the way they ate, it was healthier than the way we eat. Antoine, he used to tell me that like for a Lebanese person, they would never really think about eating like a big piece of like meat. Like meat is just a kind of a seasoning that you put in your soups and stews and stuff. And at a time like now where maybe you can't find it, that would be a great way to live. By and large, they weren't as touchy as Italians. Like Italians are real touchy when they greet and everything. But Arab people, when they greet you, they just touch their heart. And I always thought that was so sweet. But I think in days like this, to not eat a lot of meat that you can't find and just touch your heart when you see someone. The younger Lebanese guys, whenever they would go back to Lebanon for a vacation or in the summertime, the first thing that they had to do before they could go hang out with their friends, before they could go to the movies or anything, is they had to go and greet their grandparents and honor them because it's just the way they did. And I mean, this kind of Corona time is kind of about old people like us. And, you know, sorry, but, and thanks everyone, but they would understand that perfectly. And it's just like, you know, getting to know people that are different. You find out they're cool. And it was growing into something like love and being brave in scary situations and loving people you've never been around before. And like a personal relationship with God. I mean, they believed that Jesus was God who became human. And they just talked to him and went walking with him. And, you know, they would tell him their problems and they would laugh together and talk about personal. It was super personal. I mean, they learned these things in unfamiliar, kind of uncomfortable situations, sometimes scary situations that Jesus was kind of pushing them into. But they were becoming people of peace and love and a personal relationship with God. They were becoming different. Somebody that you could catch that from. Well, then, there was the time where they got the news that Jesus was dead from 3 o'clock on Friday till early Sunday morning. What they knew was that Jesus was dead. And they were shocked and they were so sad and they were devastated and all of it. But sometimes I've wondered if maybe, in some dark little perverse corner of one of their hearts, or maybe one or more of their hearts, there might have been maybe a little dark sense of relief. Like, he was always pushing us. Following him was always pushing me. At least now I can go back home, apologize to my family for letting myself get carried away with this whole thing. Maybe go back to fishing like I'm used to and making money. I mean, that's not bad. Go back to a life that's familiar, that's comfortable. It doesn't scare me all the time. The only thing is, and I'm wondering if maybe one of them felt this way, I don't want to go back to who I was. I mean, I was learning to be brave. I was learning to have peace in scary situations. I was learning some Samaritan, like some of their language, because I liked them. All these people that don't like foreigners, if they just knew them, they wouldn't feel that way. And I guess I'll just go back to saying those old prayers that we used to recite, that you memorize and stuff. But when I believed Jesus was God on earth, I felt like I had a personal relationship. I don't want to go back to the way I was. And then they heard the news that Jesus was alive. And they were meeting with him. And he was sending them out on their mission. As you're going, sometimes it's translated, verse 19 of Matthew 28, as you're going into the world, make disciples, or going. It's what it really says in Greek is going, make disciples. But there's this is a little bit complicated, but there's a little Greek rule that when you have an ing dependent clause and the main verb that it's connected to is an imperative, the dependent gerund becomes imperative. In other words, Jesus said, go. Not as you're going, go into all the world and make disciples. If you thought that other thing was uncomfortable, this is going to be super uncomfortable. This is going to be super unfamiliar. It's going to mean going to jails. It's going to mean going to being beaten. It did for them. It's going to mean going into foreign countries. But they didn't go back. I mean, they became super brave. Like they became super peaceful. Peter was asleep in jail one night when he thought he was going to be killed the next day. I mean, Paul thrown in a dungeon, singing and praising Jesus. There was a guy who was going to be killed. Peter didn't get killed, but this guy did get killed. But before it happened, his face turned into the face of an angel, it said. I mean, they were super peaceful. And talk about love. They were loving all kinds of people. In chapter 10 of the book of Acts, Peter went to an Italian house, went into the house and said, I just want you to know, I've never been in a home of people like you because it's just kind of not what we do. But here I am. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, you might want to think of another way to say that. That's a little less insulting, the people that you're visiting. But in chapter 11, like those first followers of Jesus, it never occurred to them to talk about Jesus to people who weren't Jewish because that was their faith. But the first people who shared the message of Jesus out of love with people who weren't Jewish were Africans who had converted to Judaism, and then they had converted to Jesus. And they had a heart to tell everyone. And in the next chapter, the second community of Christians, the people who were leading it was a guy from Cyprus and another guy from Turkey and 2 Africans. And they were just family. In fact, one of the Africans, I'm convinced, is a person that the Apostle Paul was later to say about his wife, that she had become his spiritual mother. It was like super peace and super love and relationship with Jesus, personal relationship with Jesus. All they did when they got together was talk to Jesus, risen from the dead. I mean, just like it says in the book of Acts 28 times that when the disciples, men and women and kids, when they got together, they prayed together to Jesus. It's what they wanted to do. Over 20 times it says that they did. So you know why they didn't go back? You know why they went forward into greater peace, braver than they had ever been, into more loving people more than they had ever loved, to having a more personal relationship with Jesus, even though they couldn't see him anymore. The reason is because Jesus said, before he said to go, all authority is given to me in heaven and on earth. Jesus Christ, risen from the dead, ascended into heaven, is King of kings and Lord of lords, and in control of everything that happens in this world. And he just orchestrates situations that push you into being braver, push you into having peace in a scary time, push you into loving people more, push you into a deeper, more personal relationship with him. And maybe some of you are feeling like when the corona's over, I do feel like during this period, I actually am a little braver. I talk to people I wouldn't normally talk to. I feel a little braver than I used to feel. I feel a little kinder than I used to feel. I'm kinder to people I don't even know. And I am praying more than I've ever prayed. I don't want to go back to who I was. I promise you, you won't. Because Jesus said, all authority is given to me in heaven and on earth. There's a verse of scripture that Paul said that God, this is what Jesus will do in your life, even when the coronavirus is over, that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. God is working out a plan in this. Sometimes people say, well, don't say that verse. Are you saying that about the coronavirus, that God comes in and all things to work together for good? Okay, well, I'm not going to say it like that. You could talk about anything. I have somebody that thinks baseball is boring is like, so what's baseball? A person throws the ball, another person hits it, and then they run. It's like, you could talk about the Apollo 11 moon mission that way. A guy walked down a ladder, then he took a couple of steps and put a flag in the ground. But God is working out a plan in your life through all of it. Even this uncomfortable stuff, and even this times that you don't really feel safe, and even the times that it's so unfamiliar. It's part of a plan for you personally. And the next verse says, because he's using it to make you more Jesus-y. He's using it. When this is all over with, there's going to be other things that will be unfamiliar. You'll have other moments where you'll feel uncomfortable, or you might even feel unsafe. But it's all part of a plan to give you greater peace, to fill you with greater love, to make you more loving of people, and to push you to a deeper, more personal relationship with him than you've ever had before. You're not going to go back. He's going to make sure you never go back. You're going to be going forward into the new you. Every once in a while, Jesus will give you a little, to me, it's kind of like a little postcard. Just a little moment to show you, I'm right here. I'm right with you. I'm working out a plan. One day, I was sitting out there on the church pew, and I had been talking to some Young Life people I said, you should go back and look at old YouTube videos of Billy Graham and watch how he would present the gospel. He had just a clear sequence. He was awesome. And so I kind of got curious about that. And I YouTubed Billy Graham preaching, and they had a YouTube video of the night that Billy Graham preached at Neyland Stadium. And when President Nixon was there, and I was like, I was there. And I just looked at it, and I was watching it, and they showed Billy, and then they showed Ethel Waters singing, "To Me, It's Wonderful." And then there was a place where the camera showed all of the students and where the protesters were protesting. And I remembered exactly where I was, and I was looking over to my right towards them, and it was kind of scary. And all of a sudden in this video, the camera kind of panned to the right and stopped. And there I was in the picture, 15-year-old kid trying to find Jesus. And it was kind of like God was telling me, I always had you. You were always in my plan, so.
Why don't you sing this out with us wherever you are right now?
I want to see through your your eyes see my life is your life. Make every single day another chance to say, I want to please you more. I want to love you, Lord. I want to live like I'm your child. Oh, I want to make you smile today. Change the way I see. Lord, grow the heart in me. Change the way I feel. Show me what's true and real. I want to see through your eyes. My life is your life. Make every single day another chance to say, I want to please you more. I want to love you, Lord. I want to live like I'm your child. Oh, I want to make you smile today. Teach me how to see. I want to be a new me. Tell me what to do. I'm giving control to you. I want to see through your eyes. My life is your life. Make every single day another chance to say, I want to please you more. I want to love you, Lord. I want to live like I'm your child. Oh, I want to make you smile. I want to see through your eyes. Say, my life is your life. Make every single day another chance to say, I want to please you more. I want to love you, Lord. I want to live like I'm your child. Oh, I want to make you smile today. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. I sought the Lord and He answered me. In all my trials He's been my refuge, and from my fears He's delivered me. When I cry out, He comes to my rescue. So taste and see that the Lord is good. His praise will always be on my lips. So magnify the Lord with me, and we'll lift up His name together. All wisdom, might, and majesty are the Lord's forever. Well, I sought the Lord and He answered me. In all my trials He's been my refuge, and from my fears He's delivered me. When I cry out, He comes to my rescue. So Taste and see that the Lord is good.